Okay, so my name is Seb from Coherence Gaming, and I'm trying something different today. I have an article coming up on Patreon, and I figured I'd go through it in a video. So basically, I want to go through how the deck building worked and like why I struggled with it. So if you go to the website right now, it says this is at the very top, Dynamic Hero Deck Builder, and it explains how you build a deck. So the way it is here, you have Maya. So the blue is Arcana. So she's Arcana 3, which was the highest. So that's basically any Arcana ability 1, 2, or 3, you can include it in the deck. And then Instinct was 2, and so 2 or lower you can include in the deck. And then Pyromancer, you can include all of those cards. So the idea there was like, so if you're a pyromancer, those abilities will have different colors, and depending on which character you're playing as, they can kind of tap into these different archetypes. This initially I thought, okay, this is okay because the complexity of this is actually in the beginning. It's when you deck build, right? So once you're playing the game, this doesn't really matter. Um, but it still just was weird. It just wasn't good enough. And so I revamped it and um, essentially simplified it. And I think it also just gives each character and each choice a much stronger. There's like a stronger identity and decision making behind it, right? Where like now Maya can use all the blue cards and most of the green cards. So it's just, the propensity for you to just grab the best from those is kind of reduced now. So with that, I'm introducing a new card type called Mastery. So for each hero, you'll pick a Mastery, and then the Mastery will also be represented in the card. So these are the 5 initial Masteries, and I'll go through them. Since these are like the first quintessential ones, I'll just go through them. So for Marshall, you have your hero gains attack plus 1 flat for the whole game. And then it says special action, so it's an action, you can only use it once. Target an enemy, deal 1 plus X damage, which is your hero's attack value. So it's just like an attack, essentially, like a bonus attack. I'm going to jump over to Arcana. So your hero gains influence plus 1. Again, the whole game, special action, recall spell, play a spell from your discard that costs 6 or less, and then banish it. So kind of similar to the fighting where you get an extra attack. Here you're getting an extra spell. And in the middle we have Will, which is all enemies lose 2 attack and 1 influence until the end of the turn. Essentially, there are like the way I'm thinking about certain Will classes, having the characters have lower attack or influence will matter. So we'll see how that fits in over time. Okay, and then the last two. So I think of instinct and expertise as more like supportive type uh, masteries, although not necessarily. But courageous spirit, your hero gains influence plus 1, and then it strategize X equal to your hero's influence value. And then instinct of the woods, which gives your hero plus 2 HP and lets you look at the top 3 cards of the zone deck and move 2 to the bottom. So like a scouting type ability. Okay, so those are the 5. And then, so we'll go back. So like here, it was like Arcana 3, Instinct 2. And now it's just Arcana and Instinct. So if you play as Maya, you can pick a green Instinct Mastery or a blue Arcana Mastery. And then the cards that you can add to your deck outside of your class are the cards that are tagged like that. So if you're in the simulator now, it still has like the ticks, but basically any card that's 1, 2, or 3 Arcana is just going to be Arcana singular, and the same for everything else. So in the top, you can see if you pick Instinct for Maya, um, you can put the generic Instinct cards and other Instinct cards from other classes. It's showing you 2 of the Beastmaster cards there. And then on the bottom, it was Arcana. I didn't have too many other Arcana examples, but there is this um, item tool from the engineer class, which is Arcana. So overall, I really like the shift to the mastery card type, because now it's like really clear. If you picked that mastery, then you know those are the cards that go in your deck, and then that card itself is like a bonus. Um, and then to go further into that, so I went over the basic ones, like the initial five, let's say. But the other way that you could build against or on top of this is for your masteries to be more class specific, right? To help you get into like a subclass. So here I have Heart of the Assassin. So this is the first time your hero attacks a marked enemy, you deal an extra two. So this is something you would want if you're running like a ninja or trying to hybridize into ninja. And same thing with here. This is less for hybridization. This is more just for Beastmaster. Target an ally, fully restore its HP if the ally is bonded. There are ways to bond outside of being an actual Beastmaster, so you could still hybridize by using this. So yeah, so this is also just more design space. And I also just in general really like the idea of a special action. It's kind of like it's almost like your ultimate in a way that you get to activate. And then for Heart of the Assassin, pretty unique here. Banish a card from your hand at the start of the game. A little bit different, but the reason I did it for that card is because you're getting a bonus to attack damage on every marked enemy every turn. So it felt like dropping your hand by one to balance that out. We'll see if that changes. And then the last thing is talking about what's the next update. So the next update will be online by Sunday. So on that update, there will be two more heroes. So we're gonna have Dorothy, our Beastmaster, and Hyujin, which will be our ninja. And I'm really excited for both, particularly the ninja. Well, I really like Dorothy too. So hold on, I like both. Get that straight. But um, in a lot of games that I've made, I've like ninja is like the first class I want to build. So I've made so many different versions and iterations of ninjas and different like skill types and different mechanics. So to like finally land on this is really cool. And yeah, I just feel really excited that like after all these different versions of Ninja, I finally got something that feels really cool and that works really cool. So yeah, so after a lot of time working with Ninja, I'm just excited to have something that feels really like unique, very ninja-y, and like very dynamic. I wanted the Ninja to feel like you have a lot of options, so that's there. And then Dorothy introduces a new sort of setup. Um, there is the Mankochi Beast Bracer, which is an item. You will see this by next week. Maybe I'll make a video about these heroes in particular. I'll probably put an article for each one of them. But yeah, trying something different. Wanted to placate and chatty chat. Also, I haven't made a big change in the game in a very, very long time. So adding the mastery card was like really different and also something that I like struggled with. I was like, oh, I like the system I had, and I spent a lot of time thinking like, is the complexity worth it? Um, and ultimately, it wasn't. The complexity just was not worth it. Um, and also, I think the idea of having a card that represents like the aspect that you're playing in your deck is also just really cool. So it just fit a really nice. It's your color, it's an extra effect, it's visually on the table, you know what you're playing. Yeah, it just really hit that nice cohesion. I will say I have had something similar like this in another version of this game. Um, when this game was more like a versus game, I had another card type that was something like this, a sort of like tie-in bonus card. Um, so it's really interesting to kind of like revisit that, but in a very different way. All right, so I'm gonna stop here, but yes, so the next update will be out on Sunday, so in a couple of days, And hopefully the website URL will be updated, but I will post it in the video if you want to play the game today or whenever you watch this video. Hopefully see these guys in there. Yeah, and then if you have any comments or anything, you can leave it in this video. Yeah, this was a big change and I'm excited. Um, yeah, like I said, I haven't made any changes to the game in a very long time, like big structural changes. So this was a big one. It needed, some blibber blabber.